Hi, and welcome to the SaVeg podcast.
I'm Rose, also known as Cheap Lazy Vegan on YouTube.
And I'm Daniel, one of your favorite guest stars on Cheap Lazy Vegan's YouTube channel.
We're two friends who love to talk about the latest trending topics.
So get comfortable and join us while we give our SaVeg take on just about everything.
You are currently listening to the previous episode of this podcast, but if you would like to listen to this week's episode and get some exclusive content, go over to patreon.com/thesavagepodcast.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the SaVeg podcast.
Hello.
As you all know, I'm Daniel, and I'm joined by my beautiful co-host,
Hello.
Rose.
How's it going? You all right?
I am. I'm feeling a bit awkward today for some reason. I don't know what's going on.
It's because we're not together.
I know, and it's like now that we're doing it like this again, it's like takes another like readjustment, you know?
Oh, goddamn, Daniels.
God damn.
It'd be sad. Hopefully we don't have to do it like this that much longer, you know?
That's true. Well, Rose, for those people that are watching the video and seeing that we're not together, do you want to give them a little explanation
as to why?
Yeah, as to why we recording like this.
Well,
why are we?
Because it's the vid. So, okay. So it is now second wave, as we have predicted. Oh, it got really bright over there all of a sudden, Daniel.
Oh, God.
It's like an angel. It's like the heavens came down on you.
Am I looking angelic now?
You look very angelic. Anyways, so basically, guys, our city, well, you know, the country of Canada, like many countries, is imploding. So we are going through some shit. The numbers have risen dramatically in the last few months or weeks. So they have implemented further restrictions. So basically, you know, they're basically telling most people that we should just not be interacting indoors.
Which, I mean, given the caseload here in Alberta, I can see why they've done that.
Yeah.
It is hard. Like, it's a tough kind of place to be in. I mean, I think we're all getting that whole, what's it called? You know, like lockdown fatigue or pandemic fatigue or whatever it's called.
Is that the new term?
I don't know. It was like something, I remember hearing about something. I don't know if it was pandemic fatigue or what it was, but it was definitely, we getting tired.
Makes sense. That's why a lot of, I feel like, I mean, compared to the beginning of the pandemic, the first wave, the numbers are much higher, but I think people, hold on guys, I'm just adjusting. But I think people are taking it less seriously. Maybe we've just gotten used to it and maybe we're not as scared, even though the numbers are much higher than before. Right? What do you think?
This is true. And it's funny. Well, it's not funny, but like every single place, because I remember I was in Spain when all this took place, like in the first wave. And like the numbers now, like when I looked at Spain and even the UK and a lot of places, the second wave is like way worse than the first wave.
I know.
And it seems like people are less like, because before everyone was like, lock down the country, get all crazy. And now they're kind of like, well, we'll impose a few more restrictions. The numbers are kind of going higher. And it's like, well, if compared to the beginning of the pandemic, it's a lot more. So I don't know. I guess we'll just kind of see what happens. I mean, for some, it depends on the countries as well. Like I know for us, we're like, I don't know if this has also exacerbated the problem and the fact that we're entering flu season as well. So, I don't know.
Well, shall we talk about the flu season and how you refused to get a vaccine?
Oh God. People.
We were talking about this the other day. Oh God, Daniel, you got the vid?
Don't be joking about that stuff, Rose.
Oh my God, I know. I need to stop. Okay, sometimes I gotta laugh, Daniel, because otherwise I'm gonna cry.
Exactly. You gotta laugh and keep yourself from crying, right?
Do you remember that that bus driver in Scotland? Shall we tell that story?
Yes. Oh
you guys, I don't know if we've ever told this story in this podcast.
I don't think we have. It is such a good story, though.
Oh God. Do you want to start?
Yeah.
You start.
Okay, so for one...
Can you do the Scottish accent, Daniel?
I can't do a Scottish accent, no.
Okay, you can try, though. Come on.
No. But basically, Rose and I were in Glasgow, and we decided, like, because we were there for... over the Christmas
just
holidays.
Like a weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
No, we were there for quite a few days. Like, I think it was like 4 or 5 days. And we said, you know, we want to check out the vegan scene there because it's supposed to be really, really good. And it was. There was a lot of vegan restaurants and stuff there. And we decided we wanted, while we're in Scotland, we might as well book a Highland tour. So there was like a day trip that we booked that was like, you know, you went to Loch Ness, like all these famous places. Anyway.
So basically like up in the mountains, like in the Scottish Highlands. Okay. So we got in this and this is like middle of winter.
Yeah. So it's like
And
Christmas
we got into
time.
this bus.
Yeah.
Yes. And
So
then
we-
what happened,
So
Daniel?
we get on the bus. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning. We're all like a little bit tired. You know, we're crack of dawn. We're about to leave Scotland, right? Or Glasgow. So we're like getting onto the highway and stuff. And
But where were we sitting? You're missing that very crucial point.
So Rose and I don't even know. Oh yeah, I think we sat
Because we wanted to see like the view as we were driving.
yeah. We were like, we want to get a really good view. So me and Rose were the first on the bus, and we sat like directly behind the bus driver because you had like the full front windscreen thing, so you could see everything. Right? We're like, oh, this is gonna be the best view in the house. Like as we're leaving the city, the bus is getting like steamier and steamier and steamier.
Not steamier. It's like, is it steamy? I guess, yeah, it is
It's
steamy.
like it was like foggy and like condensation or whatever it was.
Yeah. I guess it is steam. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry to keep cutting you off. Continue.
Well, steam would be like if it's like really hot though, and it was cold.
Right.
So I think it was like just a mix of whatever. Anyway, so this bus driver's like trying to turn on the heat that like helps
The defogger, whatever it's called. Yeah.
So he tried to, he had that going, and he was like driving out of the city. He's like, guys, like, I just don't know what's going on with this vehicle. Like, what is happening? And at one point he's like driving, and like me and Rose were like right behind him, and we could barely see out of the window. So I was like, how the fuck is he seeing where we're going? And I remember
he had a rag. He had this tiny little, like, almost like a handkerchief. Like, it was tiny. Daniel's going crazy. And he was he would like wipe because I guess the defogger broke, okay, in this like tour bus. And there's like a lot of people on this tour bus.
Yeah.
And this poor man is driving while he's driving this giant bus. He's wiping this giant window with his tiny little rag to like see where he's going. And then, the reason why he kept going is because as we were leaving the city, I think we like ran into one of his other tour guide friends.
Yes. Yeah, we did.
And then he kind of helped us a little bit, and then it seemed to fix itself.
And
like
then
we
5
kept going.
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we kept going, and now we're on the highway.
Yeah.
It's like, it's too late to turn back.
Point of no return. And at this point, he's literally driving with one hand. The other hand's like shammying because it's like the second the window's clear, it like 2 seconds later it's fogged up again, right?
Oh my God.
And I remember him being like the entire trip, like he would be like, oh God, guys, I really am losing the will to live up here. Someone, if anyone's got a shotgun, just come up here and put me out of my misery. And as we're going, right? So that was just like the icing, like the beginning of this journey. Because then I remember as we're on the highway, we get around to this one point, and it was also raining a bit outside. So there was like some flooding on part of the road, and like some of the traffic had been diverted. And he was like, oh my God, like what the hell? So we ended up having to get diverted. And keep in mind, the entire time, this window's just fogging up. Like he's like getting so angry, right?
Yeah.
And then he was
this
like,
poor man, honestly.
oh, it was so bad. So then we stopped at this like little castle. Now he said, whatever you do, you have one job. This is it. We had 3 hours at this castle. He's like, whatever you do, the last ferry from this castle leaves at 4. You have to be on that ferry, because then he was going to meet us at the other side of the lake in the town. He's like, that's all you have to do, right? So we all get on the ferry, back on the bus, and we're all getting ready to go. And then someone goes up to the bus driver and is like, I think there's a couple missing. And he was like, you're kidding. You're fucking kidding me. So he calls the castle, and sure enough, 2 of the people that were from our tour were there. And he was like, tell them to take a taxi. Like, I'm not going to come get them. So they had to take a taxi and whatever. And then I remember him just like the whole time he's like, you know what? After this trip, I'm putting in my resignation. Like I've had it. I'm never doing another tour. I took on this tour as like a favor to the company. And this is like,
oh no.
And he was like, this is going down as the worst tour in history.
And then
go ahead.
As we were coming back, do you remember, as we're coming back, so at this point, it's kind of dark. Okay. Yeah. So, and this guy's like the tour guide, bless him. He was making jokes. And at one point he was like, folks, I got to laugh because otherwise I'm going to cry. And then we're driving back, and now it's dark. Okay. Yeah. It is dark. It is cold outside. It is steaming up, a storm up on the freaking window. This poor man is like, oh my God. Okay. So one of his solutions was to turn off the heat
and turn the AC on.
And turn the AC on so that it's not steamy. So he turned this AC on and we're all like freezing in this car. Like this is December in Glasgow, like in the middle of the mountain, or not Glasgow, Scotland, in the middle of the mountains. It is freezing cold and we are just like, and it's dark. We can barely see outside. It's still a bit foggy.
Yeah.
And honestly, me and Daniel were like, this is how we're going to die.
Because also the other thing that's really scary is, so me and Rose were like literally shivering because it was now colder inside the vehicle than outside because of this AC cranked, and it was just like insane. And then because we were driving on the highway, cars would be passing us going the other way, and when their light hit the windshield, because of all the fog and all the stuff that was going on, you literally could not see a thing. And that's why I like turned to me and Rosa were like freaking out. Of course, we're sat right behind the bus driver, so like that made it even more scary. And I remember just turning to Rosa, I was like, "Yep, this is how we
this is how we die.
We've had a good long friendship. You know, I cherish it. We're gonna die in the Highlands of Scotland." Like it was it was scary. That was like one of the scariest tours I've ever been on. Like
yes. And then as soon as we got back, we're like, oh, thank God, we're alive. We found a new appreciation for life.
Oh God, that was so scary though. Oh my God. And I just love it. That guy, like literally the entire time, he's like, "Oh, I've just lost the will. Honestly, I can't do it."
You need to learn how to do the Scottish accent because that would be epic.
I can't though, unfortunately.
Poor man.
I know.
I wonder if he retired.
Well, apparently he wasn't. He was like retiring that evening or something. He was done doing tours. So who knows what happened.
Oh God.
He might have been a little dramatic though, you know?
Well, I mean, that would be so stressful. Like imagine being that person. Like it's kind of funny on our end, but then he is responsible for all these people. Yeah. He's the one driving and he has to do the tour. So he has to like talk and like, you know, be entertaining. And while he's driving, one hand cannot be occupied by anything else but wiping the window.
Well, and the worst thing too is that the window, it almost like teased him at some points, because at some points during the trip it would like clear up and he'd be like, "Oh, okay, perfect. Let's go, fixed. Guys. We're going on the highway." And like 5 minutes later, it would start fogging up again. And he was
at like the worst times.
Yeah.
Oh my God, honestly. I mean, if the window did not like fix itself before we left Glasgow, then we just wouldn't have gone on the tour. Like we would have probably changed cars, which we probably should have done.
I know.
Anyways, guys, that's our little story of Glasgow.
And how we almost died.
In 2015, was it not?
When did you do your big Europe trip? Was that 2016?
Yes.
Yeah, so this was the winter of 2015.
Wow. Daniel, that was 5 years ago.
Oh, God.
Can you believe it?
Mm-hmm. When we going to do another trip, Rose?
I don't know, Daniel, but all I can say is we've survived an extra 5 years after that traumatic incident.
That's very true. We're doing well, you know?
We're doing very well, Daniel.
We came close to death. I saw the lights, you know, reflecting from those other cars.
I honestly was scared. Like I was like, "Oh my God, this is not fun."
Exactly, because and I think it would have been fine if we were sat a bit further back, because then we wouldn't have known like. But it was the fact that we could literally not even see out the window, and we were like, "This guy clearly like he's trying his best, but like he can't see, like we can't see." So like
maybe we should have helped him.
Yeah, like maybe we should have got up
like
there.
We should have just like stood there, just.
I didn't know what to do though. You know what I mean?
I know.
Oh God.
Anyway,
it was scary.
Bless you, Scottish bus driver. You did very well.
You did, yep.
Bless your soul.
I wonder if you're still doing those tours. Who knows?
He probably quit after that day. It's traumatic enough. Anyway, Daniel, do you have stories for us?
I have a couple stories.
Okay, what's going on? Am I going to be depressed after this episode?
No, like one of them. Okay. They're not bad stories. Have you heard about
Okay, tell me.
Have you heard about this this recent thing that happened on TikTok about somebody's like was filming a TikTok video and someone was like breaking into her house? Did you hear about this?
No.
Okay, so basically here you go, guys. Here's the story. All right.
Okay. God, TikTok is always in the news nowadays.
I know there's always something going on TikTok. Like it's a little bit crazy.
Yeah. Okay, tell me the story, Daniel.
Okay, so basically there was this terrifying video that surfaced on TikTok. Now, this woman, apparently she had a stalker, and she was in her house, like in her apartment, filming like, you know, like the TikTok dances or whatever. And as she like gets her phone set up to like film and stuff, she's like all of a sudden hears like a sound. This is like Sunday night at around like 10 o'clock at night. Here's some like her balcony, something happened on her balcony, and her like balcony door like open like into her living room. So she like freaks out and she's like, oh my god.
As she's filming, like, is this on camera?
Yeah, it's all on camera.
Okay.
Like you can look it up. It's like there's actually a video. And as she's doing it, she's like, oh my god, like who are you? Like what are you doing? Yeah. And then she's like, please get out of my house. And then he responds, he's like, am I your friend? Like being all like weird. And she's like, no, like get out. And then he's like, are you sure? And then she's like, who are you? Like, get out of my apartment now. So she grabs her phone while she's still filming, and he like leaves. He like closes the door, but she like obviously is freaked out. So she like opens the hallway door and like goes to a neighbor, and then she like turns the camera off or whatever. And like how freaking scary is that?
Did they catch him?
I think so. Yeah, he's like a well-known like stalker in the area. Yeah. From
like
what I
he
understand.
stalks multiple women?
I think so. Like
that is terrifying.
I know. Like it's
that is so
actually,
terrifying.
Like so scary. Like imagine you're just.
What
like,
was he planning on doing? Do you think he was gonna?
Who knows?
Oh God! Oh my God! That is terrifying.
Like I already.
But then, like, why did he leave? Did he leave because she was filming him?
I think so, probably. Like he was probably like, "Oh shit!"
God
she's
damn!
Like,
do we need to have our phones on all the time? Like sometimes I think this. I'm like,
yeah.
If something bad happens to me, I want evidence. You know?
Well, exactly. That's just it. Like I think that's one good thing about us like having phones nowadays is
yes.
like I know this sounds like really what's it called? Not disturbing, but like one of the things that like I'm happy about is like if anything ever did happen to me, like generally you'd have your phone with you, right? So
yeah,
like one, you can easily contact people if you have to, but if you can't actually access your phone has like
the emergency,
yeah, and also GPS coordinates, right? So like whatever happens or wherever you're brought, unless your phone is obviously dumped, they're gonna have GPS coordinates of your last known whereabouts, right? So it makes looking for you that much easier.
Oh god damn, Daniel!
I know
that'd be sounding dark as hell.
It's kind of scary. Like one of my like I don't know if anyone else experiences this. Like, do you ever do this, Rose? Like sometimes I'll be at home. Well, I'm in my parents' house right now, so it's like a bigger house, and I like sometimes will like hear noises, and I think that somebody's like in my house. Do you ever like, do this?
I've done it multiple times.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm paranoid. Like what the other like this happened a while ago, and I thought someone was in my house. This is kind of embarrassing, but I basically was like in my house and in my bedroom, and I heard like all these noises. I was like, oh my god, what is that? So then I like slid my chest of drawers in front of my door, so that way if someone like came into my room, obviously it would make a big bang and a big noise, so that I would like wake up and like I don't know, do something.
I mean. I think you told me this, and then I was like, Daniel, your first thought wasn't to go and protect your parents? Your first thought was to just protect yourself?
To block
your parents are up there, Daniel.
Well, I half figured that there wasn't anyone in the house, so I was like, oh, it's probably fine.
It's probably fine, but let me just protect myself.
Let me just barricade my door so no one can get in here.
Oh God.
But it's like scary.
It's scary. I've had a few of those moments where especially when it's a big house, it's scary.
That's why
because there's different noises, and I'm like, I wouldn't want to live in a giant house because I would just think like anyone could be coming through any door.
Yeah,
it's
so funny. I actually watched a film. It wasn't that good of a film, but it was about this thing called, I don't know if it's like a real thing. I think it's like kind of made up like an urban legend or whatever, but it's called frogging or like something like this.
Frogging?
Yeah, I think
that?
I think it was called frogging or something along these lines. And basically like this whole movie's about this, and it's these kids that are doing this, and basically the whole idea of it is to break into someone's house, like sneak into their house basically, and like live there for like a week but without the people knowing. So like you have to try to like,
oh, there's a term for that. I don't know. I don't think it's actually, I'm not sure if it's frogging, but I think there's yeah. Do you know what the movie's called?
No, I can't remember now. But anyway, it was about these kids like just doing.
But like in an abandoned home?
No. Like in a
real home.
Yeah.
Shut up. Why?
Yeah. So they would like, just for the thrill of it, like they would basically blah 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 blah. Oh yeah, here we go. Frogging. It is called.
Oh,
frogging.
It is called frogging. Okay.
Is a person secretly living in another person's home. The word is pronounced frogging, but it's not spelled like that. And gets its name because frogs, as the people who engage in the activity are called, tend to hop around from house to house, as a frog might do on a lily pad. I don't know if it's like I don't know if this is actually documented in real life, but like this film just basically, these kids like went and lived in the attic or something. And then obviously if like the families, if it's like two adults, they're commuting to work. So they'd go to work, and then during the day, these kids would come down, make themselves some food, put stuff in the
dishwasher. It's like Parasite.
Yes, exactly like that.
Oh my God.
So
That is creepy.
And like a big house, if it's a big enough house, somebody
Yeah.
can do that. Do you know what I mean? Like that's.
Oh my God.
This is why
I'm never living in a big house.
I know. This is why like, when I move out, I kind of want to live in an apartment for a while because like,
Yeah.
especially because I'm by myself. So like if I had
You don't want a giant house to yourself.
No, because then I'd like freak out. I'd always be scared that someone's in the house with me. Like I'm paranoid.
Chests of drawers are not going to save your life, Daniel.
I know. This is it. It's like even when I've house sitted, like I house sat like a few times for like my aunt and uncle and stuff. And I'm trying to think who else I house sat for. But every time I'd be there, I'd always think, oh my God, like what if there's someone in the house? Like what if somebody gets in the house? I don't know. Maybe I have like this is like a fear, you know, like one of those irrational.
I definitely know. I get it sometimes. I mean, I don't get it often, but I've definitely had like at least a few moments where I'm like, oh my God, what is that noise? And then I like freak out. It's scary.
It is. Like, I don't know. Does anyone else
my
experience this,
God.
guys? Leave us a comment. Let us know if this is something that's like maybe.
But like, I mean, it's like a legitimate fear because you hear stuff like this where it's like someone could break in, you know?
Yeah. Well, and I think too, it's like, it's very rare that these things happen. Like obviously it's like smaller percentage, but we, especially nowadays, we are faced with like media stories of like these crazy shit that happens where people like broke into this person's house and like killed everyone or like, you know what I mean? So like, it's not like it doesn't happen. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Do you lock your doors like, in the middle of the day?
Like our house doors?
Yes.
Yeah. Like if I'm
like
home.
if you're home.
Yeah. Like if
really?
I'm. Yeah.
You always keep it locked?
Pretty much. Yeah. Like 99% of the time, like even if I'm just at home watching TV.
Oh yeah,
like,
you're a little paranoid.
During the day, I'd have my door locked.
I used to like be really bad at locking I mean, Daniel knows this.
Yeah.
But this is, okay, well, this is different. Even at my parents' house, because like my parents live in like, you know, the burbs, you know, like very kind of safe neighborhood.
Things can
quote
still
unquote.
happen in the burbs, Rose.
I know. But like I used to, for example, like when I used to walk my dog and stuff, I would just like leave the door open. Like not open,
like
but
unlocked.
Leave it unlocked.
Yeah.
And then just come back. And like if I'm home, often I'll just like not lock it.
Yeah.
Not good advice. I mean,
No.
Here's the thing. It's like, have you seen that movie by Michael Moore?
Yeah, Bowling for Columbine, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
he like goes to Canada because he's like from the States. So he's doing a documentary about the States and how it's like not safe. Was it Bowling for Columbine or was it Fahrenheit? It was one of those movies.
One of the two, Fahrenheit 9/11
Yes.
or Bowling for Columbine.
Yes.
I can't remember which one.
So he like goes to Canada and he starts like just like randomly opening people's doors to see if they're locked. And like so many of them are like not locked.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh God, I do that too.
I do think, unfortunately, like the thing is back when because I was filmed in like the late 90s, early 2000s,
It was.
I believe. So I think like back then, I think that even my parents were like less lax about locking their door and stuff. But I think now, like as time goes on, people are more diligent about locking.
It's getting
their
more
doors.
dangerous.
Exactly. Like even in Canada, it's like before me and my friends could like run around the neighborhood, do whatever, and like parents feel less secure doing that nowadays. So
that's so scary.
I mean, we're still really lucky compared to some countries.
Yeah.
Like so lucky, but
I wonder if that does have an actual connection to the number of crimes, though, or are we just getting more paranoid? I would like to know that part.
Probably we're getting more paranoid, I would say. I don't know if
think
necessarily
so?
crime rates have, but who knows? Like,
maybe they have gone up.
Yeah,
I don't know the details.
I think like, for example, in Calgary, what I've heard, I don't know the stats or stuff, but I've heard that like petty crime, like theft and stuff has gone up a lot.
Definitely gone
lately.
up.
Yeah. So maybe that there's some truth to it. Who knows? I don't know.
God damn, guys, lock your doors.
Lock your doors.
Your doors. Keep
they-
your phone with you at all times.
They be coming for your what did that guy say? Do you remember that really funny interview where that one guy was like being interviewed? He's like,
he said,
they be
no, hide your mom. No, hide your
hide your wife, hide your kids.
Hide your wife, hide your kid, because they raping everybody around here.
Yeah. There was like
Didn't he get famous? He got like famous.
Yeah. Well, so it was like right around the time where that woman was like talking about like how she escaped this burning building and she like had a cough and stuff. And she's like, and I thought I had bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Oh, that's where the ain't nobody got time for that. That's where it got popularized.
Yeah, because there's like this woman and she was like, I think she escaped a burning building or something. I don't know. There was like a bunch of these like kind of famous.
These like random like local news channels that would like interview these people.
Like the most random story. And these people were just
oh my God.
so funny. There was another one where this one lady, she was like, I think she was out of it. I don't know. And she was just like talking to this guy seriously about this story that was going on. Then all of a sudden she's like, do you want to see my tit?
I don't remember that.
I'll send you a link. Like,
oh God, that is golden.
Yeah, so bad. I used to also like to watch, like they had that, and then they also had like news bloopers. Like,
oh my
I don't
God.
know why, but some of them are so
they are hilarious.
Funny. Yeah.
It's because they try to be so serious. I think that's why it's funny. Because it's like, if it's like a regular talk show, then, you know, people say stupid things. Yeah. But like in a news, you know, segment, everyone's like very serious.
Yeah.
So it's like when there's a blooper, it's like hilarious.
Exactly. Because they have to be like so, like very, very strict and serious.
And then once they start laughing, they can't stop.
And then like other people in the room will start laughing. And like, oh God, it's so good.
This is why I could never be a news, like what do you call them? Announcer? Like, is that what they're called? Anchor, like a news anchor, because I feel like I would just laugh at everything. And like once I start laughing, I don't think I could stop.
No, exactly. Especially some of the stories are actually like ridiculous that they have to talk about, and they'll be like, "Oh, this person did this," and then like try to keep a straight face. Like,
oh God,
I don't know. So crazy.
Anyways, Daniel, do you have another story for us?
I sure do. This one's a little bit like not that interesting, but like kind of.
Is it slow in the store in the news?
No, like there's a few. There's another one. There's a couple. So I have a couple. I have this one and I have one more.
Talk to me.
So this one is just about. So this is about like unemployment claims in the United States of America.
Oh God.
So apparently, what's happened is there's been this massive unemployment claim fraud that was done by inmates in California that were able to collect millions in benefits.
What?
Yeah. So
how did they do this?
I don't really know how they did it, but hang on, let me just like get to the part of here we go. On Tuesday, a task force led by 9 district attorneys across the state of California reported in a letter to the government letter to Governor Gavin Newsom that tens of thousands of prison and jail inmates, including more than 100 people on death row, have collected hundreds of millions of dollars in unemployment benefits as part of a scam that the officials say appears to be the most significant fraud on taxpayers' funds in California history. According to the task force, between March and August, inmates housed in every single California prison and in jails throughout the state filed 35,000 claims totaling at least $140 million in benefits. In most cases, officials say that payments were given out in the form of prepaid debit cards sent to friends or family on the outside, who would later deposit the proceeds to inmate accounts.
Oh my God. Mm-hmm. How did they do this without getting caught? I mean, now they got caught.
Yeah. Well, they said they were saying about like how this could happen, like on such a large scale. And they said law enforcement blamed California's Employment Development Department, which has been swamped with processing more than 16.4 million unemployment claims since March, resulting in a massive backlog of unfiled claims that, according to reports, have totaled upwards of more than 1.6 million people at times are in the backlog.
Oh my God.
I think what happened here is like California, the state of California, was just so overwhelmed with so many of these claims for unemployment that they just haven't been doing their due diligence because they just haven't had time.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But I want to know how somebody in prison is able to like, file a claim.
And it seems to be very well coordinated if so many people did it and so much money has been, stolen essentially.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, I guess they just talk amongst each other. Maybe. I don't know. Like, how does this work?
Exactly. And I just don't get it. Like, I mean, I know that they have access.
Do they file it themselves? Like, what?
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm trying to understand. Do they just fake, do they just have fake IDs? Like, what, like, how does this work?
I have no idea. Like,
I mean, kudos to them for being smart enough to do that, I guess.
I know. Well, and they must be able to, like, I know they have access probably to computers and stuff, right? So, like, they probably during break time or whatever. I mean, I've never been to prison, so I don't really know how it works. um,
Me neither, Daniels.
I don't
It'd
think
be
I would
surprised.
Exactly. I don't think I'd survive very well in prison, Rose. I don't know about yous. So, as we were saying, I was just notifying yous that I don't think I would be doing that well in the prison environment.
And then did you hear what I said?
No, what did you say, Rose? Repeat
I said
it
you
to
be a target.
A target for what, Rose?
Nothing, Daniels. That's up to your imagination.
Oh,
I guess we never find out because hopefully you never go to prison.
Well, I'm planning on not going to prison, so
that's also part of my plans.
Yeah.
People ask me what my 5-year goal is. Going to prison is not one of those goals.
It's not. Yes. It's just kind of like it's one of those things that if I can, I will try to avoid in my life. I hear the food isn't great,
God.
so
it's probably not vegan.
This is it. I bet you, like, if we went there and we were like, oh, by the way, we're vegan, they'd be like, you'll eat what we're giving you.
Oh God, honestly, I think that is so even scary. Even just the thought of going to prison.
I know, like. Ugh.
But if I go to prison, I'd like to know where I can find these ways of
defrauding the government. Is that what you're gonna?
Well, I gotta make money somehow.
We all know what
you gonna put me in prison. I'm gonna get my money's worth. Okay.
We all know what Rose will be conspiring to do when she's in prison is defrauding the government of funds.
You better hope I don't go to prison.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do not arrest Rose and don't put her in prison, guys. Because
here's the thing: if I did something to go to prison in the first place, then I probably wouldn't be too scared to be, committing some fraud in prison. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. This is it. You know what I mean? Like
that's why.
Yeah. I'm not saying that normal people don't go to prison, but like you're right. The people that are going to prison are committing crimes. So like they're the kind of people that would be frauding the government or doing certain things. You know what I mean? Like
Or, I mean, maybe they're just in prison because they were doing some drugs.
That's true. Or it could have been
like we discussed.
Another reason that we talked about as well was the systemic racism that's causing the problems within
the bail issue.
The bail issue. Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of different things of why people, you know what I mean? Could be.
So did they get the money? Like, did they take out the money? What happened?
Let's see what happened. So it says, blah, 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 responded to the statement that by calling the fraud, blah, 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 blah.
God damn. You keep breaking up a little bit.
Oh, God damn. So the district attorneys were forced to form their own task force within the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitations after the reports of fraud in the employment department continued and the strike team failed to uncover the large amounts of fraud the other groups had seen. I don't know what that means.
Okay. I don't really know what that means.
Currently, it is unclear how Newsom's new task force is different from the largely unsuccessful strike team. So I don't know. I think that's probably under ongoing investigations.
Like, why do I feel like California sounds like there's always like, it's always like underfunded. Any sort of government program seems to be underfunded. Like, am I crazy? Like, remember that documentary we watched, Daniel, about Gabriel Fernandez? Like that boy?
Yes, that was in California as well, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And like they're talking about how, the social services, system is incredibly like basically they don't have enough social workers for the amount of, cases. So it's like, why does it seem like it's always underfunded? I thought they had really high taxes.
Apparently not high enough. I don't know. I don't know.
God damn. Anyone in California want to share with us? Because I know right now they also have a big like homeless crisis as well, which is another issue. And like a lot of people are actually leaving California because they think it's like not as, livable as it used to be.
Yeah.
I don't know how livable it was before, but
yeah. Well, didn't you you went recently to San Francisco, didn't you? Like a couple of years ago?
I went like, maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah. And did you notice like was there quite a lot of homelessness and stuff or?
Yes, it was a huge issue there. I mean, the homeless, I went to San Francisco when I was very, very young. And I mean, obviously, so I don't remember like all the details, but there's definitely been a huge rise in homelessness in San Francisco. Like I've never seen so many homeless people in my life. It was it was shocking, actually. It was very sad.
Yeah, I think that there's been like Well, actually, I don't know for sure, like a lot of different places, but I know even in London, I remember my last year in London, that summer, I just happened to notice that there was just a lot more people on the streets. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, is this in my head? Like, I remember talking to somebody else and I said, have you noticed that there seems to be a lot more people, you know, on the streets, basically? And one of my friends was like, yeah, it's weird. I've noticed it as well. So I like Googled it in London, and it was like, in year over year, I guess the homelessness that they recorded had increased by like 30 or 40%.
That's
so like
a lot.
Yeah, a huge amount. And there was just, I remember being in shock. I went to Westfields in Stratford, which is an area of London. And there's like two different malls. There's like the Stratford Mall, which is a little bit rougher. And then there's like Westfields, which is like the posh mall. And there's like a street that goes between. And I remember like being across the street at the bus station, looking over, and there was like literally a wall of like tents and all this stuff being, and I was like, I've never seen anything like it before. It was like almost like a little like homeless village, almost like for like
Skid Row.
Yeah, and I was shocked because I've never seen anywhere in London like that before. Although I'm sure it existed, but never so like in your face. And even when I was working in like close to Covent Garden, there was just so many people there, and I think part of it's because there's a number of
homeless
different
people.
Factors. Yeah,
in Covent Garden,
huge amount.
Yeah, I don't remember that when I was living in London. I don't remember going to Covent Garden and seeing homeless people. So it probably did increase.
Yeah, and like things that I saw there, like I can't like unsee. Like I remember I was walking during the afternoon at lunch, through Covent Garden and on one of the side streets, which wasn't even like an alley or anything. It was like a pretty main street, and there was somebody shooting up there. Like it was crazy.
Really?
And I was like, oh my God, this is like insane. Like. And like me and some of my coworkers would go for like drinks after work and stuff.
Yeah.
And like we'd be out, like, you can be out in the street, like having drinks and stuff. And literally like you wouldn't be out there for 10 minutes before you had like people constantly asking you for money and stuff.
Oh God.
Yeah. So, I mean,
I feel like it's like a pattern all over the world.
I feel, the thing is, it's because, we kind of talked about this briefly before, but as the cost of living goes up, right, and our real wages aren't going up to match it, there's going to be more and more people that are not hitting that like threshold of being able to like make enough to live. And also, increase of like mental illness and things like that, because that's what a lot of people that are on the streets are suffering from. And, when we close like mental illness hospitals and things like that, it just means more and more people end up, on the street if they don't have the support of, the government and stuff to help them. So
I know. And I remember I watched, there was one night when, when you fall into like a YouTube rabbit hole.
Yes.
Oh, well, I don't know if you've fallen into it.
I have fallen into them before.
One time I like started watching this channel. It's called Invisible People. And it's like this guy that I think he used to be homeless as well. And he started this YouTube channel and maybe like a nonprofit where he basically like interviews people that are homeless to kind of just like put it, because like, like there's obviously misconceptions and, stereotypes about homeless people. And a lot of people just assume homeless people are like lazy or, just negative stereotypes. Yeah. And then he just like interviews people on the street. And like a lot of them are they're just kind of like regular people. And it's so sad. Like some of them are like were successful before, maybe they were married and they just like, again, like just, they have different stories. So it's like really sad to see, because it could happen to anybody. Like, exactly. I think that's the scary part. It's like, it could happen to anyone.
Well, this is the thing. It's like a lot of people think that, all the people that are homeless and stuff, they're drug addicts, they're XYZ, blah, blah, blah. But there are quite a lot of people out there that, it's not luck of the draw, but they've just been unfortunate with way certain things have gone. And you're right. They could have been successful and now ended up in that kind of position, right? It could happen to anyone.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Anyways, so, oh my God, I forgot what the original story was.
The original story was talking about
the
unemployment claims in the prison.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't understand how they're able. I still don't understand how they're able to do that though. Like I
don't know. I don't think we'll ever know. I don't understand how prisons work, so I would not know. Like, because you hear about people smuggling things into prison.
Yes, I was gonna say this is the other thing.
How?
It's like, exactly. They always talk about like prisons always have like so much smuggling that goes on. And I'm like, how are people smuggling stuff when they're like locked
super
away?
High security?
Yeah, it's like anything you need, we can get it in the prison.
I think it's like because I think they have to like be friends with the correctional officers.
Yeah, there must
So I
be
think
some.
it's those people that work there that
yeah.
are like,
well,
going
there's no
behind
other
the
way,
scenes.
really.
Maybe there is another way. Who knows, Daniel? Want to find
true.
out?
Not really. I'm not going. There's actually a show on Netflix. I don't think or on TV. I haven't watched it, but it's about
What's it
people,
called?
I can't remember, but it's about people that go undercover, like not undercover, but they just basically go and become an inmate in a prison.
No.
To see what it's like. Yeah, I'll find. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a.
That's scary.
Yeah, like I would not want to do that because you're with like
Yeah.
real life prisoners. Like that's not a joke. That's not a TV show. That's like you could actually like get hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And especially, I mean, I guess it depends on what country you're in because, certain countries like the Scandinavian countries, they have very nice prisons, like, because they're all about like rehabilitation.
Yeah.
So they focus on not creating some kind of hostile environment. They actually have like very nice prisons, almost like hotels. Like they're really, really nice. They focus a lot on, education and rehabilitation. So, that kind of prison, I'm down. Like, sure, I'll go there for a bit. It'll be like a vacation. But,
not quite, but you know.
I mean, if you look at some of those photos, it kind of looks like a vacation. Have you seen?
I haven't. No.
Oh, you should. After our call, you need to Google Norway prisons or something like that. It was like a big news story, and it was very controversial because, obviously, especially here in North America, we have this mindset of like, if you go to prison, it's like punishment. Like you need to be punished. Whereas, it's a different mindset, I think, because they don't think like, oh, they need to be punished. They think, let's rehabilitate these people. Yeah. So they have a really low like crime rate and low, like, what's the term? Like recidivism?
Oh my God. Why can't I think of the word?
Is it
like a repeat offender?
Yes. Am I making up a word? Let me see here. Did I make recidivism? I think I just made it up. Hold on.
You might have. I don't think I've ever heard that word before.
It's right. Recidivism. The tendency of a convicted criminal to reoffend. I got it right. Recidivism.
Well, a lot. And to be fair, like in most places, like I'm pretty sure US, Canada, all of these places, like pretty sure that we have pretty high recidivism rates.
Yes. That's the thing. So there is something flawed about the prison system, just in general, not just in the US, but also in Canada. Because if you think prisons, like you think like, it's a hellhole, right? Like it's not a fun place to be. But so in other countries, Scandinavian countries, they've really reformed the prison system. And what's interesting is that they've actually taken like their old prison system, which is basically the modern day prisons like in North America, and then they turned it into like a museum.
God damn.
Because that's not their system anymore.
But there's that whole argument when it comes to criminals and stuff like around punishment versus rehabilitation, right? Like,
yes,
is every single criminal, are they, can we rehabilitate them? That's the question. You know what I mean? Is everyone that commits a crime, can they be rehabilitated and enter back into like normal society?
I mean, I don't think every single person can be. But I think that based on the success of the systems in, for example, Norway, I think it's Norway or Finland or somewhere. Yeah. I think that you could argue that most people could potentially be rehabilitated. Obviously, it also depends on the, other aspects of society as well, not just the prison, but also just like, social support in other areas. But I do think that most people can be. And I think we need to also change this mindset of like, immediately this person just has to be punished. Like we need to we need to get, we need to punish this person. We need to make them suffer. Just that idea. Like I get the sentiment to some degree, but this kind of revenge, idea,
mentality.
Like, the revenge mentality is not good for anybody, I think. That's just my perspective. That's my, liberal hippy dippy perspective. What do you think, Daniel?
Do you be smoking something before this call, Rose? God damn. And that's my 2 cents.
I'm all about the peace and love.
It's an interesting one. I don't know where I sit on the fence. I think
you're sitting on the fence.
I'm sitting on the fence, not where I sit on the fence. I'm sitting on the fence because I'm a bit like, I do agree to some degree with rehabilitation. I think I need to do more research and I need to understand more. And I don't know. It's a tough one. It is a tough one for me. I don't necessarily think that people need to be hardcore punish per se, but I definitely question whether or not all people that commit crimes, especially depending on what the crime is and, you know, some other stuff, whether or not they should be, you know, re-entering into our society.
Yeah.
But then who am I to make that call? Do you know what I mean? So I think I'm on the fence a bit, you know?
I definitely don't think everyone should re-enter necessarily back into society, especially, obviously it depends on their mental well-being. So there are certain people that have major issues that probably should not re-enter.
Yeah.
But then is the alternative then to, you know, like
punish them for the rest of their life,
kill them?
you know?
Like, yeah, like, is it the death penalty? Like what is the alternative? So it's an interesting kind of discussion. I think even people that are on, you know, the left side, like, you know, liberal people or left-wing people disagree in this topic because of this, like, you know, belief that, you know, certain people just don't deserve to live, or, you know, that kind of thing.
I don't know. It's a really tough area. Because I think that there's good arguments for all of the different, you know, forms of kind of not punishment, but like there's different arguments to be said, you know. It's tough. I never have been an advocate for like the death penalty, because I think my biggest reasoning against it is just like the fact of the matter is there are so many people that are wrongfully convicted. Do you know what I mean? So like if we're instilling the death penalty, like, you know, how are we ever 100% sure? Like, unless we like, you know, there are so many people that slip through the cracks that are wrongfully convicted, and like, should they die for that? Do you know what I mean? Like, they shouldn't.
Exactly.
So
they shouldn't.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
it's a flawed system.
Yeah.
You know, and also another argument is that, again, it doesn't decrease the number of crimes. You know, countries with death penalties do not have lower crime rates.
It's not like a deterrent.
Exactly. Because a lot of people think it's a deterrent, but it's not. So I don't know. I mean,
it would be a deterrent for people who think that they're going to get caught, but nobody thinks they're going to get caught. Do you know what I mean? So,
right.
You know, you could put
I don't know. I don't even know if it would be a deterrent. It depends on, you know, if you're like a, you know, really messed up in the head, right? So if you're like a serial killer, do you really think, like, I don't know if they even care if they get caught, some of those people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, if you're messed up enough to do those kind of things, then you might not care if you get caught or not. But anyway, yeah, I completely agree that especially because there are so many flaws and so many people get wrongfully convicted, I don't think we should have a death penalty.
100%. Because, like, you know, imagine you give someone the death penalty and then like a couple of years later you find out, oh, actually they didn't do it. It was someone else.
And it happens a lot.
And I think,
but like what I want to know though is, why is it so expensive? Because, you know, they say the death, like, it costs a lot of money to keep somebody on death row. So why is it? Because they get like specialty, like security, like,
I think that's probably a lot of it. Because, well, there's another argument that, like, part of the reason why it's so expensive isn't it because like a lot of the prisons outsource the security? So like it's outsourced to, like, I remember reading a scandal about this, about like, I could be wrong, guys, and I apologize if this is like misinformation, but I seem to remember that they were saying like a lot of the prison security systems and things are outsourced to a third party, basically that does it.
Right.
And part of the cost of keeping these individuals in these, you know, in death row, for example, is you have the constant cost, well, the cost of food, right? The cost of constant security. So you have to have 24-hour staff. And for death row, I think they probably have increased security. So they probably have like more security people. You have to, the cost of like heat and maintenance of the building, like there's just so many costs involved. So it is expensive, like to house and
like it's more expensive apparently to keep somebody. Again, I could be making this up. I'm not sure, but I have heard that it is very expensive to keep somebody on death row. But yeah, you're right. It could be that, you know, that kind of, that same thing that we talked about earlier with, you know, the movie The 13th, where, you know, it's all kind of a for-profit system. So a prison, a government prison could hire or contract out a security company to do the securities, but then they get the job because maybe, you know, the politician, they get paid. I don't know. Like it's all very potentially, you know, conflict of interest.
Oh,
potential.
Hugely.
Exactly.
Hugely.
But I don't know. I remember seeing a documentary. I think it was on Netflix. I don't know if you told me about it, but it was like this guy that was, I don't know, he got convicted of something. And then he was in like a regular jail, but then he wanted to be in death row because death row, they get like better treatment, as in like they have better conditions. So he like killed somebody in his prison so that he would get the death penalty. Yes. So he'd go to death row.
I heard crazy.
Yes.
That is
this was
crazy.
like on Netflix something. I think it was called like I Am a Killer, or it could have been a different series. It was like one of those like, like crime series where they like interview a prisoner. Yeah.
God, I think that was
so that kind of shit happens.
Yeah, I think that probably was I Am a Killer. It sounds familiar. So
yeah.
Oh God.
Anyways,
damn.
Do you have another story, Daniel?
On that positive note, I don't know if you've heard about this one. Okay, so this is like apparently this is a really big thing, and I didn't know. So did you know? Did you ever hear about the Macys Thanksgiving Day Parade?
I've heard about it. That sounds very familiar.
Yeah. So basically, like it's a big thing. I don't know where actually. I'm gonna find out where it takes place.
Macys is that like in New York? Is that a it's a department store? Is it not? It's a department Macys?
Store, but apparently they do like a Thanksgiving parade. Like it's like a big thing in the US, right?
Okay.
So basically,
what happened?
The Macys Thanksgiving Day Parade. And we might. I'd be interested to gather your thoughts on this. So I'm going to read you a little bit, and then I'll tell you what happened. So the Macys Thanksgiving Day Parade is usually something that like a lot of Americans look forward to every single year. The parade is always featuring different performances from various groups and organizations from across America. And this one this year, acts came from the Zeta Phi Beta Steppers, a sorority from a historically black college, Howard University. Zeta Phi Beta is a 100-year-old sorority with legacy status, blah, 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 blah. So people show this group a lot of respect. Like it's been around for a while. And the sororities contains a student body composed of black women. So what is the problem?
All black women.
Yeah. So what is the problem, you ask? What's the deal? What's the big deal about the Macys Day Parade? They not debuted, but they featured these steppers from Zeta Phi Beta. But I guess people got really like angry because of the way that these people were introduced. This group was introduced. So
how were they introduced?
So apparently the Macys Day people introduced them as a diverse dance group.
Okay. That was the controversy?
Yeah. So basically
I'm failing to see what the issue is.
So I guess the reason why
they're all black?
Yeah. So they said, first of all, it's not a diverse dance group because, it's a minority group, but it's like predominantly black. So they shouldn't be saying diverse because it's like lumping everybody into one category, like a bunch of different people. And then also they weren't technically a dance group. They were like steppers.
Oh my God, people have way too much time on their hands. This is a non-issue. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Daniel? Do you think this is an issue?
I just don't.
I actually don't get why this is offensive. Wait, I mean, okay, so because it's not a diverse group, because it's supposed to be all black women, right? Is it all women? Yeah, all women of color, all black women. So I guess maybe the controversy is that the reason why they put these women there is because they wanted to show diversity. So that's probably why they use the term diverse, because they wanted to show that they were being diverse.
Yeah.
That's my guess. So they were almost kind of like, maybe not used, but like, I feel like this happens a lot nowadays where like these kind of companies will just like hire one black person and then like put it out there so that they look diverse. You know what I mean? Well, so I feel like that was their intention, but they didn't realize like that they were like, I don't know. Is this the right take? I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I just think like, I think that we talked about this too in the episode that's actually going out this week as well.
Oh God.
Well, that's going out to the public about these like trigger warnings and oversensitivity. And I don't know, maybe I'm missing the point here as well, because when I saw this story, I was like, I don't understand what the big deal is. Like,
I want to see the arguments. Like, are there any quotes of like why people were upset?
No, but I mean, I could go through some of the
Tweets? Are there tweets?
No, well, it was
Gotta love Twitter.
It was originally tweeted. No, I'm on this YouTube. It's like a YouTube thing, like, but it is a story. But there was like comments on here as well.
Oh, I want to see the comments. YouTube comment time.
Okay, so I actually get why people were mad. The initial tweet may not have been super offensive, but definitely was inconsiderate. Well, they are not a diverse dance group, historically black. Here's another one. Do the people at Macys know how to use their brains? Lord, so much history they tried to erase with one word: diversity.
What? Okay. Again, I think it's because I don't know. It's because they're trying to like be diverse, and so that's probably why they use the term diverse.
Yeah.
Even though they're not diverse, it's just a group of, black women.
Yeah.
But then, nowadays it's like, I feel like you could say something and then it would be maybe misconstrued as offensive. Like they may have thought, oh, maybe we'll introduce them as like, the first female black dance group to, do this. And then they might think, oh, is that offensive? Like, is that?
But this is it.
Do you know what I mean?
There's another comment here that I quite like this one.
Okay, read it.
So, some poor underpaid person putting an update on Macys' social media and trying so hard to not offend anyone managed to offend. Educate people. Education is the way forward. And again, I get why, like, it is so important to be like, I guess you could say like culturally woke or like,
yes,
like being,
yeah.
But I think that there's something to be said about this, like, oversensitivity with regards to this stuff. Like, I think, again, I always come down to like, what is the intention that this person or whoever is trying to do? Like, was it made with malice? Like, is there a reason why? Like, and again, with this kind of situation, I don't get why people are getting up in arms, because saying a diverse dance group to me, like, and maybe again, I'm missing the point here, but it's not like disrespectful.
Oh my God, this is like not, I am like shocked.
Yeah.
And like, you know what, nowadays I shouldn't be shocked because people get offended by everything, but I'm shocked that this was a story. Yeah. And again, like that comment like says it all. It's like just some poor like social media assistant, social media coordinator just like put out a tweet. It sounds like it was just a tweet.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like the CEO. It's not like this is like the company, report. It was just a social media tweet. Like we all say, maybe something like we don't always word things, in the way that we want to.
Well, exactly. And when, I don't know, like when
did diverse become
a bad word? Exactly. That's what I want to know. Like, it's not like we're saying a racial slur here. We're not like,
I thought diversity was a great word.
Exactly. I thought it was like a positive. I thought it had positive connotation to it.
I think people are offended because they think that they were simply just trying to be, trying to increase their, level of diversity within the organization just to look good in the public eye. Yeah. Maybe. Although that seems to be what everyone is doing nowadays. Exactly. And I don't take any of this seriously. Because nowadays it's like, it almost seems forced, when you see like, just like the rainbow of colors of people standing in a picture and you're like, that didn't happen before. All of a sudden you just hired, all these like people of color to be your model, all of a sudden now everyone has to have, all the colors of the rainbow. Like I understand, but it seems also very forced at the same time. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know like what the answer is. Like, do we have to force it like that?
I think, well, in my perspective, like with this particular instance at Macys, I just think I personally think people are just they're taking it a little bit too far. Yes. And people are becoming a bit too oversensitive because it's like, you're right. Like, it's almost getting to the point where it's like, what can you say? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you said, like, if that person had said a black dance group, maybe they would have taken offense to that. Or if they would have said, depending
African American, are you supposed to say that?
Or is that politically correct now? I don't even know anymore. Know. Like, I'm actually
don't know.
Exactly. I'm starting to get to the point as well where I'm like, I don't know what's considered politically correct anymore. Like, it's starting to like, so much of this stuff is happening. Yeah. And it's just like, everything's like losing like context. Yeah. And I'm just starting to be like, well, I don't even know technically what I can be saying, what I can refer to certain groups as, if I can refer to them as a group. I don't even know anymore. Like what, like we've got to this like kind of weird, like crazy
weird
point.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. I get the the fundamental like principles of like, we need to like support equality and, you know, I'm saying like diversity and inclusion and all of that kind of stuff.
That's offensive. Don't say the word.
But then like on the flip
I know,
side,
it's ridiculous.
Like, I don't know. Is this oversensitivity like actually achieving
Is it doing anything?
Exactly.
It's not. That's the thing. I feel like it almost divides people further.
Exactly.
Like
more harms than helps, doesn't it?
Exactly, because it makes that these are real issues. Okay, like real issues exist within this like, you know, realm. Okay, so for example, obviously we do have issues where certain groups are not represented in, you know, certain contexts. Okay. So that is a real issue. But then let's talk about like, you know, what are the things that we could actually do to fix these issues? And, you know, what are some ways that we can, you know, be more diverse, quote unquote, or whatever it is. And we can talk about these things. But then when people get triggered by these types of non-issues, the people like, especially on the far right, for example, right? Like, or people on, you know, that are conservative will use this type of, you know, kind of immature, I don't want to say immature, but like this type of like behavior where people get like hyper offended, and they'll use that against all of the arguments that are potentially legitimate. So it's like, it looks like we're a bunch of crybabies crying over nothing when there are real issues that we could potentially be talking about. But because we're getting offended at like words that don't mean much, it's like, it distracts from a real conversation. I don't know. I just get so annoyed. And then I don't know. I can't.
I feel like they're like red herrings. You remember I said that before about how it's like a distraction from the actual thing that's going on and the things that we should be talking about and the things that we should be concerned about. Like, really, should we be talking about, you know, calling this group a diverse dance group versus
I can't believe it.
I know, versus actually tackling, you know, some of the like, you know, fundamental issues of what's going on, you know, with regards to like race, diversity, and inclusion. Like, I don't know. But
that's the thing. Nowadays, it's like you're going to offend somebody no matter what you do, apparently.
It's like this cancel culture as well. That's become so hyped now. It's like you say the one wrong thing and it's like, that show's canceled. Cancel this, cancel that, blah, blah, blah. Like, everyone's so sensitive over like something.
I know. What happened?
I don't know. It's just
How did this happen?
It's been the last like year or two, hasn't it? It's like the last 2
No. It's been more than that, but in the last maybe like 5 years.
Yeah,
maybe
true.
even more.
Ever since
Not when we were young.
No, ever since a certain person introduced me to the word cultural appropriation. One of our friends in London, she introduced me to that word. So ever since then, I guess
You've been triggered.
I wasn't woke back then, you know.
Well, we talked. Did we not talk about cultural appropriation on this show? We did.
I'm pretty sure we have. Yeah.
And I think we pissed off some people, Daniel.
Well, you know what, guys? Those of you that are listening or watching, you know, honestly, I like having these discussions, and I like people to also challenge and say stuff. Like,
we're allowed to have different opinions.
Exactly. But I always say in with that regards is like, for those that are listening that do have a different opinion and maybe want to say something, just think about how you want to articulate and come across. Because to be honest, if someone had something to say where it actually, you know, is well articulated and isn't just like a stupid comment, like, and what I mean by that is it's like well thought out, I'd have a lot more respect and a lot more like, oh, okay, actually this is a valid point, maybe something I didn't consider before. But if you like comment or say something that's just like so out there and you start like attacking, and this just goes in life in general, not just like our podcast, because like whatever, but like if you're having an argument with someone and you go away from the argument and you start just attacking that person, like the way they look or the way they talk or whatever else, you're actually doing yourself more harm than good, because it automatically devalues your argument. Do you know what I mean? It makes your your argument seem less relevant because you've now gone and made personal jabs at that person. So it's food for thought.
Agreed. Agreed. And also, you know, I think often, especially on the internet nowadays, speaking of cancel culture, a lot of people tend to have this, you know, notion that if somebody disagrees or says something that they don't necessarily agree with, automatically this person no longer, like, unfollow, unsubscribe.
Exactly.
You know, like, and I'm like, okay, are we just not allowed to have different opinions? All of a sudden, like, we become bad people because we have a slightly different opinion based on what we believe is harmful or not harmful. Like, we're allowed to have different opinions.
Exactly. You know? Which is crazy, because I'm just like, from my own personal growth and development in my whole life, like, actually you grow and learn so much from people that don't have the same values and opinions, or maybe not values, but the same like opinions and stuff as you on various things, because actually they'll challenge you and they'll make you either reinforce what you believe in, or they could actually shift your thinking as well, and or make you think of other things outside the box. So like it's so important for your own like life and growth and personal development, like to just cancel and just be like, oh, I don't want to talk to that person anymore. I don't want to be friends with that person anymore. It's crazy.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, that is our little podcast. God damn. Lots of discussions. We talked about the death penalty. We talked about prison reform. We also talked about cancel culture, diversity.
Scary things that happen.
Apparently
on
we
TikTok
can't say that
when
anymore.
People break in your house.
Oh yeah. Oh, goddamn. Well, guys, let us know what you think. Do you think the word diverse should have been used? Do you think it should not have been used? Do you think this is an issue? Do you think this is a non-issue? Leave us your comments below. If you're, listening where you can leave a comment.
Exactly. Or if you're not listening where you can leave us a comment, you can always follow us on Instagram at the SaVeg Podcast, and you can slide into our DMs and let us know there and say, I think you guys are wrong. I do think that they shouldn't have used it, or agree with us, or whatever you want to do. Like, feel free. If you do want to see, if you're listening to us on Spotify or iTunes and you want to see our beautiful faces, you can always check us out on YouTube as well. It's at the SaVeg Podcast. So we have a little YouTube channel going there. Or if you just love listening to us on Spotify, iTunes, iPodcasts, whatever it is. What is it?
Isn't that
iTunes,
a thing? Yeah. I don't know. We're grandparents at this point.
We're grandparents. But yeah, like if you're watching us there, listening to us there, just continue, and hopefully we brought a little bit of joy to your week and some interesting things for you to think about. And if you
guys.
Yeah. And don't worry if you don't agree with everything that we're saying. That's totally fine. Like we're all, entitled to our own opinions and, values and beliefs. But we're just glad that you continued on with us and listened to our little podcast today. So thank you.
Yes. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys want every episode early than everyone else, then check us out on Patreon. It's patreon.com/thesavagepodcast. You'll also get a bonus episode every single month, guys. Thank you so much for listening. And we will see you guys. Or hear you guys. Oh, no, you will hear us in the next episode.
We're going to see you guys. No, wait, hang on.
We're going to hear you. We're going to see you. You will hear us. We won't hear you, but you'll hear us. Oh, God damn, Daniel, don't be joking about that.
Too soon,
done. All right, guys, thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.